Welcome back.
Man, that was a big welcome back.
Well, that's what you called for.
That's right.
Welcome back to Tomfoolery Hullabaloo, where fine art meets fine nonsense.
That's right. And we promise to bring you high culture with a side order of low expectations.
Today's topic, museums, masterpieces, and the mysterious Louvre heist.
Yeah, I mean, apparently someone decided that waiting in line to see the Mona Lisa was not for them, so they went ahead and took her home with them.
I mean, can you blame them? Have you seen it? It's the
Yes,
tiniest painting.
It's the most underwhelming thing ever.
You wait 2 hours, elbow 100 tourists, and there she is, just smirking at you.
Kristen and I had an opportunity to go, and the funniest thing, and the reason I think that she has this smirk on her face, is because she is so small, and she's on this huge wall all by herself, and there's so many people trying to get in to see her, and everyone's attention is on her. And if you turn 180 degrees, the wall right behind her is a painting as big as the room. It is huge, and it's beautiful, and no one is looking at it.
No one's looked at it.
No, and I
Unless
think
they turn around to take a selfie.
Right.
They might take a look.
Well, and then that is precisely why I even saw the
Yeah.
painting, because I was doing the same thing, and I was like, whoa, that is a very impressive painting.
Yeah, I've never met anyone who has been like, I was impressed with the Mona Lisa. Like it met or exceeded my
Right.
expectations. She has been disappointing people for 500 years.
Yeah, well, same. I'm about
You've been disappointing people for
Right.
500 years.
Yeah, right
too.
around 500 years of disappointment.
So what is the favorite museum you've ever been to?
Ooh.
It's a children's museum is not the correct answer. He was finger painting.
Yeah, no, the Whitehead Memorial Museum here in Delaware, Texas. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably the Bastogne Museum. I might have talked about it on another episode
I don't think
before,
so.
but it's in Bastogne, Belgium, which is where the Battle of the Bulge took place in World War II, and they've done a really good job. So they take you through this tour of seeing relics directly from the Battle of the Bulge and World War II, and it's like an audio tour, but you're hearing about all of the artifacts from the perspective of an American GI, from a German army guy, and then a nurse who was a civilian there in the town. And then there's also a child who chimes in, because during the Battle of the Bulge, they were socked in, that you could not get out of Bastogne. And so all of these things were happening, and it's all a true story. And it is so moving. And now you're in the basement, and then you're hearing chatter about everyone hiding in the basement, and the nurse is down there, and she's helping the child, but she's also helping the army GI. And he goes out and he gets this Nazi, German soldier guy, and brings him into the basement with him as a prisoner of war. And there's all of this, like, should we kill him? What should we do? Like, it was so fascinating. So hands down, if you get an opportunity to go and do like a World War II trip of Europe, Bastogne is a must do.
Awesome.
And it's modern. Like, it's not,
I went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. when I was in the 8th grade. And, again, historical fiction junkie. I had read a bunch about World War II, different perspectives. I read a lot about getting Jews out of occupation and into freedom, and how they would smuggle them out. And so all of that was kind of part of the reading I was doing at that time in my life. And so the Holocaust Museum was relatively new when we went there. Most memorable was the pile of shoes, which everyone kind of hears about and sees that picture. There was also exhibits that they had boxes up high where you had to be a certain height to be able to look over to the video, because there was a lot of videos showing the torture that Jews underwent in the name of science. So they were trying to see how long it would take for someone to die drowning. How long would it take for someone to suffocate? And all these horrible things that they were doing to try to improve the technology for their soldiers and for their different things. And so I'm standing at a box and I'm looking over it and looking at these experiments. And the doctor in charge of these experiments was named Dr. Augustine Hirt. Hirt. That's my mom's maiden name.
Whoa.
So I'm standing there, and I know that my great-grandfather was born on the boat from Germany in 1901. So Hirt was a German name. We knew that very clearly, but no ties. He was an orphan not long after he arrived. His parents and 7 siblings all died of like scarlet fever right upon arriving in Galveston. So he was an orphan from a baby. He didn't know his history. So we don't know a lot about the Hurt family. But apparently, Dr. Augustine Hurt was the doctor in charge of all this. So I'm standing there and I'm staring and I'm seeing this guy's name and I'm having a moment. Nobody knows my mom's maiden name in
Right.
the eighth grade.
You're 8th grade.
Yeah,
So
and
like
so
13.
we're all standing there, and John Wardlaw walks up, and he looks over, and that's our neighbor. He's like my second father, and he's watching these videos, and I don't know he's behind me, and then finally he goes, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "Ah!" Like,
Yeah.
"Oh no!" So he saw it too, and he came home and told everybody that it was our family creating these atrocities. And we're
Yep.
like, "We don't know him. We
I
don't
mean,
know him."
that sounds very much like something John would do.
It's such a John thing to do. I went to the Prado Museum in Madrid when we were in Spain a couple years ago. I took a nap
Oh,
there. Well, and in my defense, we had flown all night. It's a big trip with a bunch of high school kids. There was like 80 of us, and we hit the ground running. We drop our bags off. We go eat lunch. We're running. We go to a museum, and I haven't slept in like 40 hours. And so we had to be at the museum for like an hour. I walked around a little bit. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I don't know where Cade went. I slept sitting up. His clothes.
well,
I
if you
set
were
an
napping,
alarm.
then Cade was for sure napping.
I don't know where he was. He
No.
was napping somewhere else, but I set an
Yeah.
alarm and I was like, wake up at 12:45. So I was like, no one should go to a museum on day one of entering Europe.
Yeah,
But
that's rough.
that was really rough.
Well, Kristen and I have, we're relatively well traveled and we've seen some pretty cool museums. One of my favorites was the Mustard Museum in Cologne, Germany. We went to it was the oldest mustard mill in Europe, and they were still making mustard there, and that was great. And I love mustard. But we also, when we were first married, we were in Mobile, Alabama, and just visiting. And we went to a science museum just on a whim because I nerd out and I love going to a good museum. And in this science museum, they had a camera that was like infrared, and it would pick up like how your heat signature only.
Yes, and there was a spot at your heart like this that was black.
No, it wasn't my heart, actually. I was red and blue everywhere. Kristen, on the other hand, her face, like in her nose and
She's
her
the
ears,
cold one.
completely black. She had no hands.
She has no circulation.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a horror movie. Like
We're trying to strengthen her heart, get her to do more cardio, but she doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Is there a museum or a piece of art or anything that you want to see that you haven't seen yet?
I've only been to the Louvre once. I would like to go again. We like we got to see the Venus de Milo, but just for a second. We got to see the Mona Lisa, but I didn't get to see it. I was in the room with it and 1,000 other people. I would actually like to see it closer, to kind of study why it's important. And there's so much other things in the Louvre, and it's such a big museum. I would love to go back.
Yeah.
To spend more time there. But I've also never been to Washington, D.C.
I know, you got to go. Smithsonian's great.
I've only been to New York City 2 or 3 times, never gone to any of their.
Yeah, I walked by the Met.
Yeah, I'd love to go to
There
the
was
Met.
a-
I'd love to go to the Natural History Museum in New York.
I can't remember the name of the book, but growing up, like second, third grade, fourth grade, we read a book where a kid ran away to the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and lived there for a
Whoa.
long time. He'd wander around during the day. He'd hide until the nighttime. It was not a night at the museum. Nothing came to life. But he would like sleep and live, and he rationed out his money. I just thought of that book. I hadn't thought of it in years. I don't remember what it was called. It was not Night at the Museum.
Right.
But it was
because that
something
would have
like
been the
that.
Natural History Museum,
Yeah.
not the Met.
All right. So there is only one other thing, and I can't really show it to you on a podcast, and I meant to pull it up, but I have not. So I'm just going to talk about it, and I'll add the link in the show notes. But there's this funny little website I came across where you draw on the screen with these different colors. It's a very analog, like think of the Light Bright game.
Yeah, kind of like that. Or
Yeah.
like early Atari kind of video game.
And then
yeah.
after you make your drawing, you hit play and music is made to your drawing. And it plays over and over. And it really turned out pretty good despite.
And you can change the colors on it. And yeah.
It was super fun. So we'll link that. I just thought it was neat. Just playing into our art topic today. So we're going to start with From the News Desk.
Well, and this is a little unique for us with a From the News Desk because
This one's really happening.
yeah, normally we either talk about like history or like maybe an obscure story, but this one is going on like right now. So sorry to interrupt, but this is pretty exciting.
I agree. The Great Louvre Jewel Heist.
Yeah.
So, from the Tomfoolery and Hullabaloo newsroom.
Which is a huge newsroom. Like, we got people working around the clock.
It's more like a closet in my house.
Yeah.
But stop the presses, grab your berets, and lock up your diamonds, because this week, the Louvre Museum in Paris, yes, the Louvre, was the scene of an international art heist straight out of the movies.
I mean, it is unbelievable. They stole the crown jewels worth 88 million euros, which is about 120 million US dollars. They stole the crown jewels, like Napoleon's crown jewels. They were stolen in what authorities have called a highly professional, precisionally timed operation.
So just set the stage. The Louvre, built in 1190.
Do we both have to say it like that, or can
No,
I just
want you to say it wrong, and then
I will
keep
say
saying
Louvre.
it right. The Louvre. I just want to make sure people don't think you're talking about a toilet. The Louvre.
I'm not talking about the Louvre, nor am I talking about the luge, which is that
the game, the sport.
Yeah, the sport. No.
So built in 1190. I mean, we're talking almost 1,000 years ago.
Right.
It was originally a fortress to protect Paris. It then became a royal residence in the 1500s. Louis XIV moved the residence to Versailles, about 17 miles outside of the city.
Amazing to see that as well.
Got to see the gardens there. And it became a museum in 1793 as a way to show Napoleon's royal collection. So it is the largest museum in the world by square footage, but the largest collection of any museum in the world goes to the State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, which was founded by Catherine the Great.
Yeah, St. Petersburg, Russia, not St. Petersburg,
Florida. Correct. Catherine the Great. I'm sure there's great Catherines in Florida, but this is the one from Russia.
Yeah.
All right, so get this. The thieves pulled off this heist in under 8 minutes. Some people are even quoting it at 4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes. I can't even make my decision at Chick-fil-A in 4 minutes.
Can't.
It's just...
Well, no, it takes 4 minutes to say what all you're going to eat there.
Well, and then, like...
mac and cheese.
Kristen's standing there. Jack already knows he only eats the same thing. Kristen pretends like she's going to order something different. Inevitably decides on the same thing. And then I always forget, I also need to order my food. Right. And
and these guys... then that'll be $20. You're like, wait, that price isn't right. I've forgotten to order.
And the more that I study this heist, I don't know if it was like this professional hit. I think they were just...
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, they went at it the easiest way to see what they can get away with, and they got away with it so far.
What is that? What is the law that says the easiest explanation is often...
Oh, yeah, that's Sherlock Holmes. That's Arthur Conan Doyle.
But it's got a name to the law. It's not Sherlock's law. But
I don't know. I guess Kristen's going to have to look that up.
Kristen, get your phone out.
Yeah.
All right. So how did it happen?
So around 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning, 4 masked individuals dressed as construction workers or maybe like service workers rolled up to the Louvre.
Galerie des Apollons.
Yes. Galerie des Apollons. Which is where the French crown jewels is held.
So they used a boom lift.
Which is like a
cherry picker.
Yeah, cherry picker.
Yeah. You see guys working on power lines with it.
Right.
So it's basically a giant construction basket. They accessed a high floor window. Once they were inside, they smashed open reinforced display cases with angle grinders. So that's like a wheel.
Yeah, like if you've ever watched like Forged in Fire, they use them to like round out their knives or swords or whatever they're doing. Yeah. A disc cutter, if you will. Cutter,
yes.
It was quick, clean, and shockingly quiet. No alarms were triggered. Witnesses say that the thieves fled on motorbikes or like motor scooters.
A moped.
Chow. Yeah, not even cool. Like they're in a cherry picker and on Vespas.
So within minutes, they vanished into Paris's traffic like ghosts in reflective vests.
Yeah, at least 8 major pieces were stolen. But a 9th, the crown of Empress Eugenie was found discarded and damaged near the museum entrance.
That's like leaving a half-eaten donut at the crime scene.
Yeah, nobody is ever leaving a half-eaten donut at the crime scene.
Yeah, not when there's police involved.
Well, no, but that's the sad part about this whole thing is that the police don't think that they're actually like going to value them for their art. They're going to value 100%. Them for the precious metals that are in them. So
yeah, nobody's buying a
crown
1700s tiara and wearing it to Halloween.
Right. One of them is like this big necklace with like an emerald in the middle and a bunch of diamonds on it.
There's a sapphire one,
yeah.
Diamond and sapphire, diamond and emerald, tiaras.
Yeah.
Investigators say that more than 100 officers are working on the case, and the stolen pieces have been added to Interpol's Stolen Works of Art database. And Interpol is like the international crime police, try to work across
Yeah, they're
boundaries.
like the European FBI, essentially. So I just got a note from producer Kristen. She said,
Proque.
yes, Sherlock Holmes principle: eliminate the impossible, and whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm looking for. Mine is a law like from Aristotle, that the simplest explanation is often the right one. Google that.
Or from my air traffic control trainer, KISS, which is keep it simple, stupid.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kiss is always important too.
Right. So the French officials are calling this a wound to our national heritage, which is fair because of the value of those things. The Louvre losing its jewels is like the Vatican losing the Pope's hat.
Right. It's a major symbol of what they are and where they've been.
Yeah,
So the museum is facing major questions about its security systems, rightfully so.
absolutely.
I mean, the speed at which they were able to do this.
Honestly, when I saw the report, I thought it was fake
Right.
because
It's baffling.
yeah.
How does the most famous museum in the world lose the crown jewels in broad daylight without a single alarm sounding?
Yeah, and the shocking part is that the system did not fail,
Right.
which feels like a fancy way of saying we're not sure what actually
That's
happened.
right. Technically, nothing broke except for the glass, the security perimeter, and their international credibility.
Right. Then we also lost all those really expensive things.
So, what happens next? Where do priceless jewels go once they're stolen?
Experts say that the most likely outcome is, unfortunately, disassembly. The gold gets melted down, the gems get removed, and the components disappear onto the black market, often across multiple countries.
Which means even if the thieves get caught, the actual pieces may never be recovered.
Well, that's the part too, right? Like the crime is so bad because now that they're gone, if they actually break them down, like what we lost will never be gained back. It's a cultural loss that is devastating. These aren't just pretty objects, they are part of France's history.
Some people are saying they think this might have been an inside job, but others think the jewels could be used for a ransom or a quiet negotiation, maybe even a return for capture scenario. I even heard that the Louvre was the inside job just with all this free publicity, that attendance at the Louvre has been down this year.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, what if we have this amazing heist? We do it quickly and we're going to get all this free press. It's worth
Well, I mean,
$102 million.
Yeah, I mean that's
Marketing is an expensive part of any business.
yeah, they say like in movies, like whatever the actual budget is for the film, you have to double it for the marketing in order for them to make their money back. This is the French government has already said that there is no insurance coverage on these pieces.
I mean, how would you? Nobody's paying that policy.
Right. Like it's not because they probably didn't try to insure them. It's that the insurance companies are like, those are too valuable to actually cover the losses because it's not just the monetary value, right? It's that emotional value that they would also have to appraise. There is no payout waiting, only pressure to get the items back.
And don't forget the reputation fallout. The Louvre's about to go through the biggest security overhaul since the Mona Lisa got her bulletproof case.
Yeah, it's going to have to be like going through TSA to get in there.
Ugh.
Like more cameras, more guards, probably fewer boom lifts parked near.
Yeah, no boom lifts are going to be
If you're
allowed on the
planning
street.
Taking your boom lift on vacation to France is probably not going to be able to park next to.
Don't check it.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Louvre. I've never been to France. And I'm not one for crowds. I already knew the Mona Lisa was underwhelming. I may never get to go now.
Well, I think
because I don't like waiting in lines. I'm not gonna go wait in line to. I just do anything.
Well, it's
I'd rather eat a baguette.
the Mona Lisa is worse than waiting in line because it's not actually a line to get in. It's just everyone is in that room.
Correct.
The rest of the Louvre is empty and everybody is trying to.
But none of the Louvres are. Occam's razor is the principle that states that when presented with multiple explanations for a phenomenon, the simplest one, the one requiring the fewest assumptions, is most likely to be correct.
So you were thinking
Occam's razor.
You were thinking of Occam, not Aristotle. Aristotle's razor is something completely different.
He didn't shave. He had
No
a full
shaving.
beard in
Yeah.
all of the carvings that I've seen of him.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some theories, Hullabaloo style.
Let's do it. Do your own research. Theory number 1. This was a professional European crime syndicate, and the jewels are already in Switzerland being melted into high-end watch faces.
Theory 2. This is an art statement, some rogue collective trying to make a point about returning treasures to the people.
That's good.
Yeah, which is kind of why they were in a museum to begin with. Napoleon, after the revolution, the French Revolution, was trying to return these things. He started the museum so that the people could enjoy these jewels and not any one family.
Yeah. So you think that these art thieves are going to like just pass around the necklaces, everybody's prom?
Yeah,
Like,
everybody's going to get to wear
every French citizen is going to get a
sign
turn?
up online. You're going to get in a digital queue where it's all these rent the runway type stuff.
Right.
You're going to rent the crown jewels of France, and then you're going to send them back.
You didn't like our French last name, and now we can potentially rent the crown jewels. This is a good theory.
This is a good thing.
Okay, so theory number 3 is this is the world's classiest bachelorette party that has gone way too far.
I'm going to get on my soapbox. I can't stand grown women at bachelorette parties wearing crowns and sashes. And,
You don't like the woo girls?
ugh, I do not like when I had my bachelorette party, I was like, no paraphernalia, ladies.
Oh.
We're going to keep it classy.
So clothes were fine.
We were
Other
close.
paraphernalia.
Well, we went to float the Guadalupe River,
Oh, that's
so there
fun.
was some not close. But
Yeah.
no I do not want a crown. I do not want a sash. I don't want none of this nonsense.
Yeah.
But if I see anyone in Paris wearing a tiara this week, I am calling Interpol.
So these are interesting theories, but what do you think happened?
Oh, I think some folks wanted to make a buck. I mean, art, jewels, as we're going to talk about in our top 10 list, these heists happen all the time.
Yeah.
And I think these guys, whether they were inside or not, and they very well could have been, they had to have some insider information because
They at least bought a ticket.
They at least bought a ticket,
Yeah.
and they knew how easy it was going to be to get in, to get the goods, and get out and not trigger a single alarm.
Right. Well, even if they had triggered an alarm, like where they were next to the street, like if they could break that window and get in and out of that window, they could just get in and out.
I know, but they're up there pretending to wash it. Doo, doo, doo,
Yeah.
doo, doo, and then they take a laser cutter, James Bond style, and then you get the little glass off, and then you climb through. And
I mean, I think maybe they laser cutted it, but
we're just washing windows.
don't pay attention to us.
Nothing to see here, just in my boom, cleaning windows. So this next story from the news desk, I had to throw in since we're talking about art and heists and funny things that happen. So you're going to answer this one, art or trash.
Ooh, okay.
You decide.
Art or trash?
From the Tomfoolery and Hullabaloo newsroom, sometimes art isn't what it seems, and sometimes people really do throw art in the trash.
Well, yikes. Okay, so here's one of the stories. In the Netherlands, a lift technician.
And by that, they mean elevator.
Yeah, like a elevator guy. Like, on this floor, we have toys and socket wrenches. So a elevator technician at the LAM Museum in Lies, which is Lisse, about 19 miles from Amsterdam, accidentally tossed a French artist's masterpiece into the...
The work by Alexander Louve is called All the Good Times We Spent Together. And at first glance, it looked like 2 empty beer cans.
So basically, just a Tuesday and someone's recycling bin.
I'm not pointing any fingers. Except, plot twist, it's not trash. It's a hand-painted acrylic, painstakingly detailed, meant to symbolize those cherished moments shared with friends.
Yeah, I just turned to the wrong page. I was about to say French officials again. So, the eternal question, is it art or last night's party cleanup?
So the mishap happened because the cans were displayed in a glass lift shaft, elevator shaft, mimicking construction debris, part of the LAM Museum's trademark unconventional locations for art.
Yeah, so basically the museum was saying, look closely or you might ruin someone's feelings or their art career.
Exactly. So the lift technician was filling in for a coworker, and honestly, can you blame them? I've mistaken a pile of laundry for a conceptual installation before.
Yeah, true. Very, very true.
Fortunately, the beer cans were recovered from the trash bag, both completely intact. They were cleaned up, given a proper stage at the museum entrance, and a little redemption story for the very confused technician.
So the museum director, whose name is very difficult to pronounce, and I'm going to...
Zitten
van Zitten said it was he was just doing his job in good faith, which I think is the best way to approach that. And it was a testament to
how good
the art was, because the guy was fooled to think that it was really beer cans. So.
Sometimes modern art succeeds by tricking people into doing exactly what it wants.
Yeah, it reminds me of last year. Remember when that Italian duct taped banana, do you remember this?
Yes.
The duct tape banana to a wall that visitors could see in Seoul as art?
Yeah, there was this art installation at a museum in Seoul, and they taped a banana to a wall. Like, that's the art. I'm
Right.
not trying to be critical.
But it was worth $120,000.
Insanely. And this museum goer ripped it off the wall and ate it.
Well, I think that there's a commercial with like Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth. Like one of them is doing that.
Yes. Yeah, it was art history's most expensive snack.
So the takeaway at the LAM or LAM Museum, nothing is sacred, not the art, not the lifts, and definitely not your lunch.
So if you ever feel bad about mistaking a masterpiece for trash, don't. You're in very good company.
Well, it's art like that though that make me
feel like I could be an artist.
Well, maybe
give me the confidence to start a podcast.
Exactly, but it makes me feel like I don't actually understand what art is. Now I can identify things as beautiful, and I can see, like, Kristen's dad is a painter and he does very good artwork, and I can acknowledge that, hey, that's a really good painting. But I can also look at something and I can say, like, photography, her mother is a photographer, and I can look at some of the pictures that she takes and I go, these are really, really beautiful. And then I can look at things at some of the art museums that I've been to, and I'm like, I feel like this is just taken with somebody's camera. What makes this art versus what I have, you know? It's, or, you know, the banana taped to a wall, like, I just don't get it.
I think that because I, as you know, have some unique art.
Yes, you do, but in your uniqueness, it's hard to find quality.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. But so Scott and Kristen were on Main Street last week.
I was very excited about this.
They were. I thought a movie star was in that building you were dragging me into. They were like, Sarah, come here.
Her birthday is coming up in a few weeks, and
I found my present.
I did. And I wish I could just take this camera and take you on a guided tour of the interesting artwork that Sarah has in her home. And I found this piece and I thought
she would love it.
She would love it. It was a vase that was a face.
Face.
But it was also red.
Chili patine.
And instead of hair, the guy had
chili peppers
around.
I'm not trying to be rude.
I don't think I've ever embarrassed her more because the owner was there. I
could have been the artist too. I
thought it was going to be a home run. Turns out
I've never been in a more awkward situation in my life. And he was like, "Don't you love this? Don't you want this for your birthday?" And
Sarah,
I was like,
I've never seen a more Sarah thing. And she's like, "I want to tell you I hate it.
But I didn't, and I said I would prefer that vase.
Yeah, I would prefer
and he was what? And I was
the
like,
most
God,
basic,
you're not
boring
helping
thing
us
I've
get
ever
out
seen.
Of this. We're trying to get out of this.
I was not
with
reading
our
the room.
Dignity intact. My point of all of this art is very hard to buy for people.
Yeah,
because the piece speaks to you. That piece spoke to you, and it said Sarah.
That's right. That's exactly what it said.
And it was ugly, and it was obnoxious, and
obnoxious.
I have random stuff all over. Like, I love art. I love home decor. I was shocked that he thought that would be something I would be interested in. But that's fine. No big deal.
Sarah loves a face.
But I think you've got to buy yourself.
That's probably true.
I think that's the lesson. Don't buy other people art.
I think you're right. Like, if it is art, it's going to speak to you in a very unique way. Yeah. And it's probably a difficult quality to explain to others or for other people to even.
But I say that all the time because people be like, "Oh, I love how your house is decorated." And I'm like, but look at it. It's very random. Every piece is very random. It's not super cohesive, but everything spoke to me. I loved everything.
Yeah, and no one bought her a chili man's face.
And I am so glad.
Yet.
But I felt so terrible. I was like, you could buy me this vase.
It was.
You could buy me this plant.
Admittedly, not my best moment. But
no, and you were emphatic. And he was so obnoxious about it, y'all, because he kept going, no, it's great,
no,
right?
You like this, Sarah.
You like this, Sarah. This is you. And I was like,
you don't.
Yeah, like I was trying to pretend. Okay, so we're going into the next segment. The top 10 most incredible heists in history. Folks, grab your trench coats, your blueprints, your best Mission Impossible theme hum.
Dun, 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 dun.
Because it's time for our top 10 most incredible heists in history.
This is the real-life Ocean 11 stories, except with fewer good suits and more chaos. I think Will's going to be disappointed that I didn't know Occam's razor. But
he is, but just tell him it was for the show.
I don't think that he listens anyway.
All right, coming in at number 10, we've got the Great Train Robbery, August 8th, 1963. This is a heist where 15 men stole about 50 million lira today, which was 2.6 million back then, from a Royal Mail train traveling from Glasgow to London. The gang stopped the train by tampering with a red signal, overpowered the driver and the second crew member, and then they moved the train to a bridge where they unloaded 120 mail sacks filled with cash. Many of the robbers were caught and sentenced to long prison terms, but a few, like Ronnie Biggs, became a famous fugitive who escaped capture for years.
Yeah. So again, 1963. So no high tech hacking, just a red signal light, a sledgehammer, and some serious nerves.
Yeah, it was amazing. So they moved the train down the tracks, and the chain of robbers just kept unloading, like they just one bag, and they kept moving it to another place. Within weeks, most of the gang members were arrested and convicted, and they received some of the harshest sentences in British criminal history, upwards of 30 years per person. But Ronnie Biggs and Bruce Reynolds evaded capture for years, and Biggs found his life in Brazil. And I don't
Huh.
think they ever extradited him.
Yeah. I mean, what an amazing story. These
Yeah.
guys just working together. Ah, I've been working on the railroad for
Doom,
60
Yeah.
million dollars. It's crazy.
So then the second, number 9.
Also in England,
Yeah,
the
hey.
Baker Street bank job, 1971. A group of amateur burglars tunneled under a chicken shop to break into Lloyd's Bank vault.
The smell alone, you think, would have hindered them.
Well, it sounds like it's like a Sherlock Holmes plot almost.
Yes.
And Lloyd's of London is huge. It's like one of the big banks.
Absolutely. So the gang was led by Anthony Gavin, and he dug a tunnel over 12 meters from a leased shop over to the bank's vault. And that process involved explosives, a thermic lance. They had to get through a concrete floor. They used a distraction of nearby road work, which had deactivated the floor vault's sensors. So that was preventing false alarms from being triggered while they were doing all
Right.
this.
That's how they were getting away with it.
That's how they were getting away with it. Now, the tip-off came because those robbers were using radios, and a ham radio enthusiast nearby, Robert Rowlands, accidentally intercepted the robbers' radio communication and alerted the police.
Yeah, so they're talking on their walkie-talkies. This guy is just doing hobby radio, like listening on the radio, having conversations. It was like a chat room before the internet existed. And he heard it over his radio and then reported him. And that's the only way that they got caught.
So the police initially dismissed the tip-off because they checked the bank vault and found that the main door was unlocked. They were unaware that they were breaching the vault through the floor.
Right.
They eventually discovered the theft, but the gang had already made their escape.
Well, and it was so unthinkable what they were doing, like digging under all the way from that, restaurant or whatever under the floor, because it's seemingly impossible what they did.
It was. So one of the robbers was finally identified and arrested because he had used his real name to put the lease on the shop that they started with. And that led to the capture of the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
What a dork.
I mean, there's always one.
So those guys escaped with approximately $3 million, which is the equivalent to $50 million today.
Man, inflation is just crazy.
It's killing everybody.
Man.
Even the
Okay,
robbers.
So let's bring it back to the United States for number 8. The Isabella Stewart Garden Museum heist, 1990.
So 2 men dressed as Boston police officers tricked security into letting them in. They tied up the guards and stole 13 works of art worth over $500 million, including a Rembrandt and a Vermeer.
And to this day, nothing has been recovered.
My favorite part of this whole story,
Man.
the empty frames still hang on the museum wall as a huge haunting reminder, or as I like to call it, the ultimate passive-aggressive art installation.
Well, yeah, or, it's probably more artful,
It probably is. But
or-
you can look up a picture of this one, and there's framed art, and then there's empty frames. It's really cool.
Well, and it's kind of also like a scar, like a memory,
It is.
Just crazy. All right. The Lufthansa heist, 1978. I've actually watched a documentary on this one.
Awesome.
It's crazy. It's straight out of Goodfellas. This happened 1978 in New York. Mobsters stole $5 million in cash and nearly $1 million in jewelry from the JFK airport.
The mastermind was Jimmy the Gent Burke. I love his name.
Obviously, Jimmy the Gent.
And he was never charged, and most of the witnesses and accomplice were murdered. Let's just say that is an unfortunate end.
Yeah, I think there might even be movies on this. like
Yes.
how they were able to do it. They used like the baggage handler guys, and
Yeah.
that's how they were trying to get away with it. It's like the heist crew and more like the crime cleanup, like they're just out there doing their job or perceiving to do their job. They're just putting it on
Yeah, but
different
they're
trucks.
actually, yeah, they're
Yeah,
breaking the law.
it's just crazy.
Number 6, the Antwerp Diamond Heist, 2003 in Belgium. This was nicknamed the heist of the century. The crew cracked a vault 2 stories underground that was protected by heat, motion, magnetic sensors,
Like Mission Impossible.
and they still managed to take $100 million in diamonds.
The thieves were part of something that was called the School of Turin,
And
Turin.
their nicknames included the Mastermind, the Monster, the Genius, Speedy, and the King of Keys, whose real identity was never discovered, but that was his code name.
The King of Keys. I mean, it's like something out of the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
I mean, the heist of the century until this week.
Yeah.
When the guys broke into the Louvre. The Banco Central Bulgaria. Burglary.
That's how you spell burglary.
I am absolutely reading it.
And then I couldn't say it.
Burglary.
Once I had in my head Bulgari, I was like, Bulgari. That's how it's said.
Hey, kids, listening.
Reading is fun.
Y'all just own it. Like, if you're not going to read it right, just walk right into it.
He was trying to say it in Spanish because
I was.
Banco Central is
Banco Central.
Central Bank. So,
all right, fine. These guys, this gang, they posed as landscape workers for a month.
No, months. Like 3 months.
Multiple months. Renting a house near the bank, and then they tunneled 260 feet underground, bypassing sensors, alarms, and stole $70 million in cash.
Man, that's dedication. I can't even commit to finishing a home project that takes more than a weekend.
Yeah, so look, if you're looking at robbing a bank, it sounds like going underground is the way to go.
You got to go underground, folks.
But you got to be patient.
So 129 people were arrested as part of this investigation.
That really is a gang.
Well, no, I think that they were because 2005 better surveillance. Anyone who actually worked on this property, they probably weren't all 125, but they were all landscaping. Only 8 of the 25 thought to be involved were ever arrested.
Well, the real crime here is when they lost all their landscape workers afterwards. They all got arrested.
Everybody had overgrown grass. Though they were initially arrested and questioning. They were not detained.
Right.
But that's how many people they had to go through, which I thought was a remarkable number.
That's a lot of people.
Number 4, the Gardener of the East, the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit, 2015, London. London again. I mean, don't keep your valuables in London, folks.
They might say it's secure, but it doesn't sound like it.
This is one of my favorites. It was Easter weekend in London, and it was done by a crew of retirees.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to say Easter bunnies, but go ahead.
A bunch of old British men in their 60s and 70s pulled off a $20 million diamond heist.
They used drills, planning, and possibly a lot of prune juice.
Much prune juice.
Because they're all retirees.
It's like Cocoon meets Ocean's 11. These elderly men had names like the Master and Basil, but I think over there Basil. They say Basil. Basil. The valuables were stolen from 70 different individual safety deposit boxes.
Yikes. All right. So I don't know why this one's not number 1.
I'll show you in a minute.
But if you did not know, we were talking about the Mona Lisa, and the Mona Lisa was actually stolen from the Louvre in 1911. Before she was world famous, the Mona Lisa was stolen right out of the Louvre by an Italian handyman.
He hid in a broom closet overnight, took the painting off the wall, and just walked out of there.
He just walked right out of the door. 2 years later, he tried to sell it in Florence, and spoiler alert, he got caught. But hey, he made the Mona Lisa a global celebrity.
He had a really short prison sentence, less than a year. He said the reason he did it is he wanted to return it to its rightful home in Italy. But this theft undoubtedly made her famous. She was not,
no doubt.
She was not the lady she was before.
Right. But it is 1911 too. So who knows?
Yeah.
What was a famous painting other than the Mona Lisa? I mean, I guess
the Sistine Chapel. Can't really steal that one.
Last Supper, the Sistine Chapel. Yeah. Those weren't paintings, right?
The girl with the pearl earring is one.
Are those called frescoes because they're painted on a wall? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know the timing. By 1911, go Monet, Grant. I'm certain all of them had painted at that point.
Sure. All the Ninja Turtles.
All the Ninja Turtles. I'm sure,
Donatello,
certainly,
Raphael.
I mean, Leonardo da Vinci, it's not like nobody painted the Mona Lisa. Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona
Right.
Lisa.
So she was famous, but
She was
not,
well known, but
yeah, not the first lady of
she
art.
became an icon after that.
Number 2, the Great Brinks Robbery, back in Boston, 1950.
11 men pulled off what was called the crime of the century. They
So
stole.
many of the century things.
There's been so many centuries.
Man.
I mean, 18 by this time, 20
This is going to be the
centuries.
podcast of the century eventually.
Woo,
How could it
woo!
not be?
They stole over $2.7 million from a Brinks armored car depot.
That's like the big gray trucks that drive around with the blue lettering where they
Right.
go to like ATM machines or whatever.
Yeah, but then they got to go somewhere.
Right.
This was the depot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
all the Brinks trucks.
Yeah, there's a movie called The Town with by Ben Affleck that's loosely based off
Yes.
of these guys.
Yeah, there were a lot of movies based on a lot of these
Yeah.
heists.
They were caught just days before the statute of limitations expired, which if you don't know what a statute of limitations is, in the law, certain crimes you can only be punished for them for a certain amount of time. And after that time has passed, the government has just kind of decided that they don't want to put any resources into punishing people. So they were caught right before the expiration date.
Which they were working on the case all the whole time, to Scott's point, and they came right up to the wire.
Yeah,
it's like
6
losing a game
years.
losing a game of tag when you're one step off of base.
Yeah, that's right. So
they actually tried to hit a different Brinks depot originally. They planned this crime for a while. Then the location of the depot got moved. They had to reassess how they were going to do the crime, figure out the patterns. They tried 3 or 4 different occasions. A guy on a rooftop across the street with a flashlight would let them know if the vault was open, if it was unarmed or whatever. So it was
that's so crazy.
It was very intricate. The 11 men involved or whatever, they had to leave $1 million in coins behind in the vault because they could not carry it out, which I thought was interesting. And then mostly they stole $1 and $20 bills that really couldn't be tracked. Yeah, all 8 of them received life in prison. A couple of the guys had already died, but yeah. And then they were paroled, but it was a ragtag bunch of dudes.
Almost 6 full years of freedom before they got caught.
Man, spinning them dollar
They probably
bills.
thought that they got away with it. I mean, how could they not?
Okay, this is why number 1 is here.
Okay.
Did you read it yet?
I did.
Oh, well, then you know why it's...
I knew why, but they don't know why.
Y'all don't know why. The McFarland Diamond Heist, 1968, Whitty Museum, San Antonio, Texas.
I've been to this museum.
I've been to this museum. The reason I know about this heist, it did not come up in a Google search of greatest heists of all time. My dad had been at the museum that week.
Whoa.
And I heard this story my whole life, that he had seen the diamond right before it was stolen or right after. I had always heard about this, and I'd always heard the details of this case, and it fascinated me, and been to the Whitty many times. So, rounding out our top 10 is the hometown legend, the McFarland Diamond Heist at the Whitty Museum, San Antonio, Texas, 1968, which is the year of the hemisphere.
In San Antonio.
Yeah. It was the world's hemisphere in San Antonio.
Yeah. So if you don't know what, San Antonio is famous for, we have a Tower of America. It's kind of like in Seattle, the Space Needle. We have one of those. And that was built for the Hemisphere in 1968. Where the Spurs used to play was called Hemisphere Arena for a long, long time until the early 90s when they built the Alamo Dome. This was a big deal. It was a big art festival.
It was a huge way for San Antonio to show the world their culture, their food, their history, the Riverwalk.
They were really establishing themselves in 1968 as we are a city. We are not just the Alamo by itself, or we're not just some place out in rural Texas. We are the city of San Antonio, and this is what we have to offer.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. But what they stole was not just any jewel. It was called the McFarland Diamond, a 49-carat yellow canary diamond valued at $250,000 at that time.
Would be $2.1 million.
$2.1 million diamonds. Kids, like if you look at your mom's engagement ring, diamonds...
They're 1 carat.
They vary.
Usually.
They vary in sizes probably, but we're not looking more than maybe 1 or 2 carats on a finger. I mean, maybe some are a little bit bigger, but 49 carats is a huge stone.
The New York Times described it as the diamond as big as a hen's egg.
Well, yeah, think about that. That as a hen's egg, like a chicken egg. It's just
It's huge.
it's huge.
So the thief struck during public hours. They strolled into the museum. He carried a hammer and a lawn chair. And that's what I remember my dad always saying was this lawn chair. Only in Texas.
Only in Texas. So picture this: a polite, sunny day, museum goers sipping on their sodas, and then suddenly, boom, smash.
The hammer broke the diamond's display case and it triggered the alarm where a gate would descend to keep the thief in the room.
But he had his lawn chair handy, propping the door open just enough to slip out with the diamond. Ingenious, absurd, and a little horrifying at how simple it was.
So you walked into the room through a regular door and he propped his chair, this aluminum chair. You know, everybody's like, what's this guy doing? Brought his own chair. He wants to go sit in front of the McFarlane Diamond. No, he propped it in the doorway so that when that gate dropped, bam, it would slam into that aluminum chair and he slithered under the door.
It's just so crazy. Actually, there's a movie called The Thomas Crown Affair, and he does the same thing.
They stole it from this guy.
With a briefcase. They stole the idea from this guy. It's just it blows my mind. He later changed his story though, leaving investigators.
Oh, you missed a line.
I'm sorry.
So a year later, a man from Kingsville was arrested for an unrelated crime. He confessed. He claimed he sold the diamond for $25,000 in Phoenix, of which he only received $6,000.
And then he later changed his story, leaving investigators to suspect that he might have cut the stone into smaller pieces, which again, just like with the Louvre just now, heartbreaking.
And the kicker, the McFarlane Diamond has never been recovered. It was gone. It just vanished.
It's just gone. So San Antonio.
Yeah.
So San Antonio, home of the Alamo, the Riverwalk, and one of the slickest, most absurd diamond heists in American history.
I know. Only in Texas, folks. Bring your lawn chairs.
Bring your lawn chairs.
Never know when they'll help you get out of a tight situation.
So that was our top 10, from trains to tunnels to lawn chairs, I guess, and a prune juice with the retirees.
It's proof that crime doesn't pay unless it comes with popcorn and a movie deal.
Yeah, love me a good crime heist movie.
Dude, me too. The Ocean's movies are amongst my favorites. I love them. I loved the casting. I loved the absurdity. I love the twists in the plots. They are the best.
Yeah, I love a good heist movie. I mean, Ocean's 11 is probably up there, like the remake. So there is an original with like Frank Sinatra. He plays Danny Ocean. It's not very good. It's very slow paced. But the one with George Clooney and Brad Pitt and Matt Damon, that's
so good.
That's really good. I really like the movie The Town that I was telling you about. I do not recommend you watch it with your kids by any mean, but any heist movie, really.
There's tons of them. All right. So for today's Hullabaloo debate, we've got to get to the bottom of this. Why is a 16th century portrait so famous? Why is the Mona Lisa so famous?
Why is she the first lady of art?
I think we got to get to the bottom of it.
Let's do it. Okay. So she's definitely got that like judgy.
She is so judging us from behind the bulletproof glass.
People call
she's
it
smug. She knows she's the most famous painting in the world.
Well, right. Like she knew it like going in. Like, do you think that she was a real woman, or do you think like some people say that it was like Leonardo da Vinci like painting himself?
Correct. No, I think she's a real woman. I'm not trying to be crass, but there's a little bit of cleavage right at the top of her shirt, and I'm pretty certain that it's a woman. I had heard it was a self-portrait. I also heard it was a portrait of his
like his mom
apprentice dude. Also, and he painted a replica of the Mona Lisa. Salia was his name. But I think she's absolutely, I think she was a real person. Yeah. Some people think she was just his painting of the ideal woman, but I don't think anyone has ever said the ideal woman has no eyebrows.
Does she not have any eyebrows? I don't think I've ever noticed that.
They faded significantly with time, they think. But she's like no eyelashes or eyebrows. It's very bold.
Oh, that's very like 2000s, right? Where you ladies were plucking
the early
your
2000s. We plucked them to a line. It was rough.
It was bad. But I mean, I also agree. I think that she was a real woman because the subtleness of her smile looks like, it could be smug. It could just be a little
she had to
smirk.
sit there for 6 weeks probably to get that. I mean, you can't smile like this for ever.
Right. Well, and like even in early like photography, people weren't really smiling. So the fact that she has this little smirk, it's just genuine.
It's just so crazy because she's not the most, no offense, Mona, beautiful woman ever painted. It's not that.
Right.
It's not the best painting of a woman ever, most accurate or realistic. I think ultimately her theft is what drove her popularity, but in a vacuum away from that, I don't think this is the most famous painting in the world until she was stolen.
Yeah. Well, and you could also argue that what made her famous was when she went on tour in the
Yeah.
60s when she came over to the United States because President John F. Kennedy and his wife were like fashion icons at the time.
Yeah.
And for a time, she was on loan in the White House hanging on the wall. And I just think that that iconic moment, her theft, and then the fact that Jackie Kennedy wanted her in the White House in the 1960s, right when like television was really coming online and pop culture was becoming a thing. We were moving away from war, even though we kind of had the Vietnam conflict
Yeah.
still going on, but people were becoming more interested in pop culture, and the Mona Lisa was right in the middle of that mix.
Right.
And I know for Americans, that's probably how we became aware of her.
Yeah, definitely. I think too, I think the mystery of her identity has just made her fun to talk about as
Yeah.
well. And the girl with the pearl earring, another famous painting,
And way prettier than the Mona
way
Lisa.
prettier, but we don't talk about her identity very much, and maybe I'm ignorant of it and it's solved, but I think there's some of that as well.
Well, and I think that the mystery of Leonardo da Vinci and like
Yeah,
who he
he's a cool
actually
dude.
was, like
Yeah. Did he
again,
fly in the let's go to a new debate. Did he fly in the 1500s, you think? Did
I
he
think
get airborne?
I'm sure he tried.
I know he tried. He
I
has a lot of contraptions drawn that look like dragon's wings.
I know that Will thinks that it's possible that he did, especially with the like his helicopter design. Will says that if that actually worked or he built a full scale model that he could have flown in it. The glider, he's not quite sure because it has a lot to do with weight and lift and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's amazing. I would think the glider would have been easier to nail down than a helicopter, but
well, I guess the helicopter is generating the lift from the ground, and the glider you would have to be. I don't know. I'm not. That's not how my brain works.
yeah.
But for
Your
us,
brain does work though.
not always. Weren't you here earlier when I couldn't?
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. We're at a disadvantage in this debate because she was already famous when we were born. Like people were just saying, "Oh, say a famous painting," and people were just like Mona Lisa. Like that's the go-to thing.
It's hard to name one after that.
Right, and so you're kind of stuck in the concept of everyone says Mona Lisa's famous. I mean, everyone I know knows what she looks like.
Well, to be honest, and there's probably a number, but like how many portraits of a woman survived from the 1500s? It may only be one.
Right.
I mean, and that may be part of it is her age, the age of this painting, the fact that it is
so small though. Like you have paintings of women in this room that are bigger than the Mona Lisa. Like
I do.
It's just
big old Dolly Parton.
Big
right
old Dolly
there.
Parton.
Yeah.
And Frida?
Oh yes, that's Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
My classmate made that one. That's one of my favorite pieces. She
Yeah.
spoke to me.
She
too.
really likes faces.
I like faces of famous people.
But I think that the Mona Lisa is famous because we have just allowed her to be famous. Like we've spoken it into existence. We said that she's famous, and so therefore she is famous.
Yeah.
Because
Well, her her artist is one of the most famous of all time.
Yeah.
So that she's got that going for her. Mona, we're not trying to discredit that. I mean, let's start with probably the most famous painter of all time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the guy's from the 1500s, and we all know multiples of his paintings.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. I've been disappointed multiple times in my life. Top 10 all disappointing moments of my life is seeing her in real life at the Louvre.
Yeah.
Just there were so many other people there. I know I already said all of this, but it's so small.
Yeah.
Like your laptop is the size of the
Right.
Mona Lisa.
Yeah. Underwhelming, I guess
right.
would be the word.
Well, and like the posters that I saw, as a kid.
Yeah, I assume she was at least like 2 feet by 3 feet.
Right. Like big
Movie poster.
big paintings. But
I assumed that too. I remember learning she was tiny, and I was like, "What? This doesn't make any sense."
Yeah. And it just, but people analyze her, there's so many different theories, and they've taken like x-rays of her. Like
Correct.
the painting that we see is not the first painting that he put onto that parchment. Like there's other layers. And so that adds to her mystery too. And I think it's just.
But that's true of most painting. I have learned that from some study that you keep laying paint down, you lay paint down, and eventually you just stop laying paint down. But there's a lot of stuff
it's probably because,
buried under other stuff.
In the 1500s, didn't have a bunch of parchment laying
Oh,
around. Like
heck
it was,
no, I can't even imagine where you got canvas from.
yeah. And when, Leonardo was teaching other people how to paint, and so other people were painting on top of the canvases, and,
Which brings me to, did you ever see the movie Mona Lisa Smile?
I did not.
It's with Julia Roberts, Julia Stiles.
Julie Andrews?
No, anyways, it's set in the like 60s at Wellesley College, and Julia Roberts becomes a professor there. She's an art history professor, and but it was called Mona Lisa Smile. I looked that up because of the word Mona Lisa Smile, and her smile is debated. Is she smirking? Is she smiling? It only had like a 3.3 tomato meter. I mean, it had a really low tomato meter reading. I remember enjoying it, but it was about women's empowerment.
Does not sound like a film that I would enjoy.
No, but Kristen would like it.
Maybe.
It was about women not just being wives and becoming lawyers and empowering them in their own career.
I think I'd just rather watch Die Hard again.
Okay. The best Christmas movie ever?
Maybe. I think we should talk about best Christmas movies ever, but I don't think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I'm glad to hear that. I've never seen it, but I hear people say it all the time.
Yeah,
Die Hard is a Christmas
I think people are saying that just because they're trying to be ironic and funny. And I mean, there are Christmas themes in it, but
well, some Christmas movies are terrible, so if it may have to crack the list because
yeah,
we've run out of options.
sure.
That's all I have for today on Tomfoolery and Hullabaloo.
And that's all I've got too. What do y'all think about Mona Lisa though? Like, is she famous, or are we hyping her up?
She's famous.
Is she smirking?
She's definitely smirking.
Or is she,
she's passing gas.
having some indigestion? Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Thank y'all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Can't wait.